the millennials have like taken over too much, but like there will be a point where they do retire, but they're going to be pushed out the workforce. So we're going to have quite a gap in a few years. Okay, so what will happen then if we're not starting now? How are we going to be able to fill in that gap?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Airdrie Inside. I am your host, Chris Glass, and I am here at a very secret location, but we are back to film. And I am with Keisha Mwanza. Keisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for having me.
So this is turning the tables from last week.
Yes,
because
it is.
last week you were interviewing me.
I was grilling you last week. I was indeed. Thank you again for coming over and talking to me as well.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anytime I can get a chance on a microphone, I'm a pretty happy guy. I'm pretty natural there. So that interview was about my candidacy and my political campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And based on that conversation, I felt like I wanted to turn the camera around on you because you are a 19-year-old girl here in Airdrie.
Yeah.
You're interested in politics. You're going to school in business.
Yeah.
You're involved with youth. You dedicate time to the community. And I just wanted people to get to know you. And I wanted to get to know you a little bit more. So, Keisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm Keisha, 19. I'm currently studying my Bachelor of Commerce at the University of Calgary. I moved here about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved from Zimbabwe. I was born and mostly raised in Harare, Zimbabwe. Yeah, and I moved here last year. It's been quite wonderful, I have to say. Got to experience a lot.
So what was it like growing up in Zimbabwe?
Okay, so just after I was born, my dad and I moved us to Eswatini, like Swaziland.
Okay.
And then we moved back to Zimbabwe. And then I got to go again to Nigeria. He's working in Nigeria. And I just spent like a year or two. And then we moved back to Zim. And then I spent the rest of my childhood and my upbringing in Zimbabwe. So I got to have like an international experience and the Zimbabwean experience as well. And it was all incredible. I got to like the Zimbabwean childhood, like it's just so full and rich of culture and fun. I got to meet so many people. I got to have so much fun. It's really, really, it's incredible. It's an incredible place.
Okay.
Wonderful weather, wonderful food, wonderful people. So it was very, very, quite a rich upbringing, I'd have to say myself.
So you said beautiful weather,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful people, beautiful culture. Canada has two of the three of that, right? So how are you adjusting to the Canadian winters?
Oh my gosh.
You've only been through one of them.
That was the worst. Oh, I wasn't ready. I thought I would be prepared. Like I got jackets and like the gloves and the like innerwear and everything.
Right.
I was not prepared because I was doing my winter semester and like I thought it would start in like January, but like in November it started snowing nonstop. And I was like, oh, so fall is already over. I got to experience like 2 months, and then the winter, the slush. I couldn't go to class. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'll try walk outside, slip and fall and kill myself. So getting up out of bed, going to class was like pretty difficult, but I had to. But I would say it wasn't as bad because my school has tunnels. So
Yes.
I could just leave my dorm room and then walk through tunnels and go to my classes. And insulation is pretty great here in Canada. I mean, it is cold.
It has to be.
It has to be. It is cold, but you actually won't feel it at all. I keep telling my family back home, like, because when I was in Zimbabwe, it could be like, I don't know, like 25 degrees out, or no, I forgot. How does the temperature work? I forgot the Celsius and the whatever.
Celsius,
but it would be
yeah.
pretty warm outside, and I'd be that one person you found with a jacket on and everything. I hated like just having like my skin out and everything. And so like it could be burning hot, I'd have my jacket on. But like when I came here, I've gotten used to like the cooler weather, and like I think I've built like my immunity quite well. So if I go back home, I know my dad will be very proud that I'm able to handle normal weather like a normal person. So yeah,
My wife has been here almost 18 years, and she hasn't got used to the
She
weather at all.
hasn't.
So she still turns up the temperature to 24 degrees, and
oh
we fight over that.
Yeah.
So, what brought you to get? So, what made you decide to come to Canada? Because as a student, the world's kind of your oyster. There's plenty of places you
Hmm.
could go to. You go to the States. You could go to England. All
Yeah.
of Europe's there, and there's great institutions there. So, what made you decide Calgary? Or sorry, Canada?
Canada in
Yeah.
general. Since I was a little girl, apparently I had mentioned Canada and I stuck with it. So when I was older and I told my parents, they were like, okay, do you want to go to school? Do you want to stay here in Zimbabwe or do you want to go international? I was like, I've been stuck here for a while. I want to go experience more
See the
because
world.
I have been exposed to that before and I've seen how like rich how much information I can learn from not only me but other people networking and stuff. So I thought Canada and I stuck with it. I didn't even apply any place else. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get a place in Canada and I'm gonna go to Canada. Right. So I think I chose it mainly because it's got like the perfect balance. There's so much diversity. And one thing that I really appreciate is how I'm able to meet different people from different
Right.
vast backgrounds, which is one thing I absolutely love and adore. I love talking to people. I love learning things from different people. So the diversity, the weather, no, that, that was just the one downside. But the people and the global view that I got from Canada, because it is one of the best countries in the world, I may say. So I knew that if I was to go here, I would get to experience quite a good, unique,
Right.
college life and my career wise as well. I get to like meet with professors who've seen international things and I am studying here in Canada, but I hope to like do exchange. Like I'm not going to
Yeah.
confine myself to just Canada itself, so I'm going to try also like go to maybe Europe or something else. And yeah, what Calgary specifically was because my aunt lives here in Airdrie, and I was like, you know what? I have someone close by, so let me try look for something in Calgary. And I found the University of Calgary, and it was like incredible. The programs, the professors, the students themselves, and I've seen how they really like push us out into
Yeah.
the world. Like it's one of the top research universities here in Canada, and I was like, this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, they do a great job. The
They do a
University of
wonderful job.
Calgary is doing a great job producing the leaders of tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, I found this hidden gem and I just knew that this is the place for me. So here I am in Calgary. Well, now I'm in Airdrie. I moved here to Airdrie for the summer, but like, yeah, Calgary was just incredible.
So then let's talk a little bit more about how we met. So
Yeah.
how the podcast that we were on
Hmm.
was set up. You were volunteering with a youth group
Yes, I
here in
was.
the city. So what makes a 19-year-old want to volunteer with youth?
This is gonna be like it's gonna be a long
That's
explanation.
okay.
Dates back to my grandfather.
We have unlimited
Yeah.
time on
Okay,
podcasts. We
perfect.
don't have any time
Perfect,
limits. That's why I
perfect,
love
perfect.
this format.
I would take it back to my grandfather. My grandfather was a farmer in Zimbabwe. He didn't really have like an educational background, but he knew that he wanted all of his children to, learn and go to school and change something.
Right.
So he instilled that little spark in my dad. And my dad got to go to school from the villages. He then went on to study internationally as well in like South Africa and at the University of Zimbabwe. And my family has really shown me the importance of education. So that's why they also made the sacrifice to send me here because they
Right.
believe in education. My dad has always spoken about the book written by former President Barack Obama, The
Yeah.
Audacity of Hope.
Yes.
Yeah, where
Great
it
book.
talks, a wonderful book, where it's like, I don't know if I'm quoting this correctly, but like it talks about how, even though the odds may be stacked against you, like everything's not looking okay, but like it takes just one person and we're able to like change something. So,
yeah, that very famous story that he
Mhm.
tells about the one girl in a town hall that
Yes.
fired up and ready to go,
Yeah.
and how she was able to change the whole atmosphere in the room, and how that carried on into a national campaign. Just an amazing story.
Just an incredible book as well. Like my
Yeah.
dad has always told me, he's like, the audacity of hope. And so education has been a big part because I've always been taught my education's not supposed to be a trophy. I shouldn't be like, oh, I've got an international degree, let me show it off and stuff.
Right.
I'm supposed to use what I learn from everyone else and from class and school as a tool to help change my surroundings or
Wow.
help those around me. I'm African as well, so we have this phrase Ubuntu, which
Sorry,
Ubuntu.
Ubuntu?
Ubuntu.
Okay.
Yeah. It basically talks about how, I am because you are.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So I've been raised in a community that makes sure, like, you're your sister's keeper, your brother's keeper, and everything. So, it literally takes a village. If I do something wrong, my auntie's going to tell me she's going to like parent on like my mom's behalf and everything.
Right.
So it's a community that is very built on service to each other. And my education helps me to, at least make sure that I help out.
Right.
I've got like more experience, more networks. I could like start a business that could help people more. It really elevates the work that I would be able to do for other people as well. So all that service and community, school as well. I
Right.
went to a Catholic all girls school, Dominican convent, Harare, and one of our core pillars was service.
Right.
I knew every single term at school, my class had to have a charity, and the school would have a charity as well. Like every single class had to give back to the community in some way.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So growing up since I was a kid till like now, I've had community and service, like it's in my blood. I can't go without doing something for the community. So even when I came to school here, I hadn't found like a club or anything to join yet, and I just felt out of place. I was like, I'm not doing something. I should be doing something to give back. And so I feel like that's really what pushes me out to like go out, find something to do and do it and help out people, because I know better. I've learned more stuff.
Yeah.
My dad has taught me a lot. He's exposed me to so many things, and it's on my responsibility to gather all the things that I know and sit down, see what's missing around the people I am with. What can I do for these people?
Wow.
And I'm still a kid. Well, not necessarily a kid, but like I'm still in school. I don't have much right now, but even the conversations that we're having, the people that I'm meeting, I know that one day it is going to help me so much.
Right.
So that's what really pushes me to like put myself out there and build the confidence to like talk to people, learn from people, and see how we can help each other in this community.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great way to spend the time that you spent. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, specifically, you're working with youth here in Airdrie.
Yeah.
There's a mindset. It's changing over the time that I've been here, but there's a mindset that this is, a relatively stable, safe community with no at-risk kids. And I know that as a football coach not to be true.
It's not true at all.
I know there's a lot of kids who need support, but can you give me some idea of what kids are going through that might not be on the front page of the newspaper, right? But it is something that we're dealing with as a community.
I was scrolling through social media the other day, and I came across this video. This lady was talking about how people haven't really factored in how the lockdown, the COVID, the pandemic really affected people mentally, because most teens, I remember I was, I think 16. I think it was around 16, 15 when that happened. And she was talking about how those were the years that we were supposed to be engaging with society quite the most.
Yeah, the
to
handshake,
like,
to
handshake, the respect, the how do we talk to each other? How do I, express my emotions? Because like everyone was going through it, right? And so she was explaining how she thinks that, since we didn't get to like go out and like learn more when our brains were supposed to be learning most of these social cues and everything, people haven't really addressed that. Yeah. And so teens, I know a lot of teens, they haven't been able to like regulate their emotions. They don't know how to talk or express how they're feeling.
Right.
They also like have lost ambition, some of them, because like maybe they wanted to do something. The lockdown happened, they've been completely derailed. That motivation that they had has dwindled down. I think, that mostly mental, the mental things, like they haven't gotten time to like talk about things. Something along those lines, that's what I believe, honestly. Because like I was going through it during like, because it was just I just get out of my bed, go on my laptop, go to school, get off and go back to bed. There wasn't much human interaction. I could be locked up in my room for hours doing schoolwork,
right?
And then like I I did spend time with my family. I'm glad I got to spend quite some time with my family. But I do agree.
Were the lockdowns similar in Zimbabwe, or because
Yeah,
it varied from different parts of the world?
it
Like everybody took a different approach.
it did vary. My school was pretty smart with it. So like a week before like we had the international lockdown, they sent us to school for like a day, and they're like, right, we've set up a Microsoft Teams, we've set up emails, we're
Oh
gonna
wow,
test this out today. And so like we tested everything out, and then we came back, we saw how it was working and stuff. So we got to
because
do.
none of that happened
N-
here. We didn't
Really?
test anything out ahead of time, and
Oh
it all got
gosh.
figured out after the fact. It was
Yeah,
very messy.
I got lucky enough that I managed to attend a school that had the resources to allow me to like learn online, because
Very cool.
most schools, they
Did
either didn't have like the funding, and it was quite difficult to navigate. Okay, so how do we do it now? But I think in my back home, they did manage to find a good way to do it, like through WhatsApp, like social media. They'd like go to parents and be like, okay, we're starting this group chat. I'm gonna send you guys past papers. We're gonna work on this. Have
wow.
your kids work on this. We found a way to make it work, but it was pretty similar. No one was outside.
Yeah.
I was in school. I even had exams online. Sadly, I
Wow.
had to take exams online. My parents had to invigilate me, make sure I wasn't cheating or anything, and then they have to take a big envelope with all my papers and send them to school so
Right.
that they could mark my papers. So school was pretty. I didn't really miss a beat when it came to school during lockdown. Quite a number of people did,
Yeah.
however, but like we're still they're still recovering from that, because I know quite a number of grades, uh, they the rate in teen pregnancy increased after
Wow.
that. People
Yeah.
dropped out of school, like less funded schools where they had stopped school. They didn't have much to do, so teen pregnancy and dropout rates
Right.
increased a lot.
I've always found that the key to keeping kids out of trouble is keeping them busy and
Hmm.
keeping them engaged. You
Yeah,
know, I'm a big proponent of football because that's what I know.
that's what you
But
know.
anything, like there's a martial arts center right beside us here.
Hmm.
You know, they're doing God's work with keeping kids out of trouble and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, so kudos to you for getting involved. That's really
Thank you.
cool when I see a young person give back and
Hmm.
try to help out younger generations. You had asked me a question the other day, and it stuck with me after I left. I felt like I answered it well. I felt good about my answer, but
Yeah.
you asked me about how we can engage youth more.
Oh,
And I thought about it and I thought, man, I would really like to actually just spend some time having you answer that question,
yeah.
because I see the lens through a 45-year-old man,
Hmm.
right? And that gives me one view of what I see. So, how
Yeah.
can we, as a community, as a city, as a municipality, do a better job engaging our youth?
Engaging the youth. I think it first starts with educating them.
Yeah,
Because one thing I've noticed is a lot of the youth don't realize how impactful politics is in their daily lives.
right.
Um, Back home, I remember during election time, I'm like, I wasn't old enough to vote yet. I remember I would tell my cousins and my friends who were old enough, I was like, guys, you need to vote. And they're like, yeah, yeah. But, I'm like, no, like you should like take time to like study the policies. What do you want to see in like the next 10 years? Because you could have a kid in the next 10 years. What schools are they going to go to? What are the educational
Right.
policies like? If you want to work, what are the taxes like? How much do you need to save up for a house? Jobs, what jobs will be given? What's going to be provided, etc., etc. And so I always tell people, I'm like, this is not just we're adults now. We're approaching adulthood. It's not just our parents' problem anymore. It's
Right.
time for us to step up and also and open our eyes and see what is happening, and that our choices now will affect the quality of life that we have for the time that that person will be in office.
Yeah.
Yeah, which yeah, it's quite difficult getting people like, yeah, but like, and I'm like, no, just at least try to at least know what the policies are, because some people just vote for the sake of voting. They don't know what's going on,
Right.
and the once policies are imposed and stuff, they're like starting to complain. I'm like, I thought you voted for this. I thought this is what you wanted. They're like, no, I didn't know, and it's a problem. So I guess educating them, letting them know that okay, the different departments in government, what's the ranking like, what's the hierarchy,
Right.
what does this person do? What does this
Who's
person do?
responsible for
exactly.
education, hospitals, roads, that
Yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
that kind of
I
thing.
find that education needs to be not just given to youth. I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many people who don't understand the differences between what level of government does what, and in some cases, I find some people in those government offices blur the lines intentionally to kind
Trying
of
to make it easier for them to understand.
right try to obfuscate who's
Yeah.
responsible, right?
Hmm.
So it makes it difficult. Okay, so education. So educate
Yeah.
on the system. Educate. What else there? What else?
Involvement.
Okay.
Like once they're educated, they're like, okay, so you now know what's going on. You know how these policies are made. You know who's gonna like pass these bills and everything. Would you like to come in and give your own input? What do you
Right.
think about this? What should we change? Because this is affecting you.
Right.
So I guess gathering teens, gathering the young population, the youth, and being like, okay, we now want to involve you in this process so that they feel seen and heard and be like, okay, I guess my voice does matter.
Right.
Let me see how I can change, because I know like once they see like a bill's been passed and like maybe something they had suggested and worked on is there, they're like, okay, I've made change. I think it just sparks a little, fire in them to like be like, okay, what
Right.
more can I do? What's next? What do we do next? Like, I don't know. Let's look at our transportation. Let's look at this. Let's look at that.
Right.
I think that would really benefit them a lot, because I've looked at it like socially in classrooms. And back in high school, our teachers would like be in charge of a classroom, but what they do is they'd give like one kid power in class. They'd be like, okay, we're gonna make you the class leader. You're gonna make sure that
Right.
you guys discuss what you guys would like to see from the school. Give me feedback, and then we're gonna go to the headmistress. We're gonna see what can be done about that. And that got people speaking.
Yeah.
That we were like, okay, why is this like this? Okay, can't we have this? And then we now communicate with the teachers. If they see something's wrong, they're like, okay, let's negotiate. How do we make sure this is balanced? I think it also ties in with education. Then you go down and you educate them. You're like, okay, no, why don't you phrase it out this way? Why don't you look at it from this perspective? I feel like you're being like selfish with your perspective. Let's do it this way. So I noticed it in school. I was like, this is low key. I think this would work in government, like this, because like I felt involved. I was like, okay, I want to do more. I know how this works. I know the hierarchy. I have to go through my class leader. They go through my teacher. They go through the head
Right.
teacher. They go through this. So like I was like, this is quite similar to government. This works in classrooms. I think it might work in like these situations that we're talking about.
So what I'm getting from you is that there's going to be a vote for Keisha sign coming your way at
You know,
some point.
I've thought
or...
about that. My dad studied political science, and I was like, "Oh, you should be a politician." He's like, "Nah." I've thought about doing politics. I always joke with my family. I'm like, "Guys, when I'm president, I'm gonna make sure I change this. I'm gonna make sure I change." I'm still not sure if like I'm capable of doing it. I wanted to see if I could study. I'm interested in a lot of things. I think I easily get distracted. Because you can take me to politics, you can take me to agriculture, you can take me to everything. I'll be interested in everything.
Right.
So I feel like if I'm in politics, I'll be like, oh, I really want to do this too. I really want to do that. Maybe it could happen. Maybe I'll start small. I'll see what I can do. But it does sound interesting. I think like over the years, as I've grown more educated about politics, I'm like, this is pretty interesting. Maybe I might actually. Maybe
All right.
maybe
we've
maybe
got
I
you.
might.
We've got you on the right track then.
Yeah. I might take it into consideration. I'll see what needs to be done, and study. I do believe in first doing my research,
Right.
making sure I know. Like I remember you were talking. You gave insightful tips on how to make the work like feel lesser by involving your family, making sure you have a lot of balance.
Yeah. For me, involving my family
Mm-hmm.
just makes the experience richer. I have a hard time separating the two, right? Because I want, like, I'll give the field, for example. So
Yeah.
being involved with the field turf project and getting Ed Edgar turfed was a 5-year project, but one of my proudest moments was seeing my son and my daughter running around on it.
Yeah.
Like the two twins, they're the youngest, and they were just so clumsily falling on the ground. And it's like, one of the reasons why I wanted to get that done is because at the time, I didn't have any kids, but when I had kids, I wanted them to grow up in an Airdrie that had a facility that they could play play on, and be a part of. So involving them in the process personalizes the process for me, right? And I don't ever want to separate the two because I think it's so much richer when your family is kind of embedded in why you're doing
involved.
something.
They understand why you do
Yeah.
what you do and everything. Yeah, I think I have considered politics. I've seen myself in taking on different career roles, and
Right.
politics has indeed been one of them. I was like, yeah, I think I can find my way into a government. I think I'd be quite, for not only for me, but for girls that look like me or girls that, back home. I was like, yeah, because I think one of the things that also lacks within the youth is exposure. Like I talked about
Yeah.
the teen pregnancies, etc. I always sit down with my dad. He's pretty wise. I won't say it to his face, but like,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
admit he's pretty wise. And he was mentioning how when raising us, he always made sure that we were exposed to see the different outcomes that we might have in life. Like
Oh yeah.
this is not the only thing you can do. You're not I'm not raising you so you can just be a wife
Wow.
and do this and that. You can be a businesswoman, you can do this, you can do that, you can do that. And I've grown up and seen so many, like his female colleagues. He's like, yeah, women are taking over.
Yeah.
Women are taking over, because he was a development practitioner, and I've seen women around him. Like I've grown up, I call them my aunties, but like they're taking up space in the corporate world. They're
Yeah.
standing up and doing a lot of things. And so I'm like, if I was to show this to like younger girls and be like, you don't just have to do this. There's still a chance and hope that you can do this, etc. But like I think exposure, it plays a huge part, but then also like helping them. Like once I expose them, I'm like, okay, this is what you can do, and then you don't just leave them dry. Then you're like, okay, we're gonna like take you through school.
You water the plant.
You water
Yeah.
the plant. Yeah, because I do agree that exposure helps, but if I expose you to like a good lifestyle, I'm like, you could live this way, you could grow up, you could do this. You don't just have to do this. And they're like, okay, well, how do I do it? And you're like, I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah.
It shouldn't work that way. Like
There should be help
there
on
should
the path.
there should be
Yeah.
help. Like I show you what could be, and then I'm like, this is how we can do that. Do you want to come on with this? Like go through school. You can study this. You can do that. You can do. I think that also plays a huge part. Even here in Airdrie, it would be incredible. Be like, guys, this is what you could also become.
Yeah. You said a phrase, and I want to prod a little bit at it because I
Mhm.
think there's some gold there. You said girls like you,
Hmm.
like girls who look like you.
Yeah.
So give me more on that phrase. Why is it important to see girls that look like you be successful?
I feel like on the international stage, I won't lie, I've seen more Black or African women taking up space in the corporate world, international world,
Yeah.
in governments, and like big seats. I was watching Parliament, like the Zimbabwean Parliament, the South African Parliament. There's lots of Black women that are, taking up space there. And I'm like, there's not many like my age that I've seen.
Yeah.
So I'm like, because it's not just like the race and gender that needs to be there. I think age plays a huge role.
Yes.
So if people see someone as young as me, they're like, oh, I guess this is actually pretty tangible. Then maybe I could actually be in this in this position. It really sparks and it ignites like motivation. They're like, I want to do that too. So I remember in high school, we'd have prefects. They were basically junior administrators to the school. And
Yeah.
I'd see like girls, they're like walking proud and tall. They're speaking so eloquently. And it was like my first year in high school. And I was like, I would love to be like, I was like, they're my age. They've gone through the same path that I have. I can do that. And I eventually went on, and I also became a junior administrator as well. And I've seen like the impact of having someone that looks like you, speaks like you, has gone through the same things that you have, is like put in a position like that. You're like, it's possible for me to do it too. And they're like my age. I'm like, okay, I could do that. It's tangible. I could actually do that. I think it's really important that people see that as well.
Well, I know I can think of showing this to my daughter, and she would be very motivated by seeing you on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think she'd really like to see that.
Yeah.
What does the next 10 years hold for you? I mean, I'm probably speaking for Britt, who's off camera here, that we're both very impressed by you, but I have a feeling that in the next 10 years, I'm going to hear your name. So what do you think the next 10 years hold for you?
Yeah, I love that you say you're gonna hear my name, because I always tell people, like I always tell my family, I'm like, guys, you're gonna like see when I'm a celebrity,
Right.
guys, you're gonna hear about me. I don't know how.
Okay.
But you are gonna see me. You're gonna see me. I don't know how yet, but definitely. I'd say I do want to finish my degree.
Right.
And then go on and do a master's. I
In
still
Canada,
in.
or are you going to be
I honestly don't.
making yourself an international star?
I think international. I love Canada. I love like the look. I think I might come settle here, but
Yeah.
I don't see myself settling in one place for too long. I might be here, might go back home, I might go Europe, I might do whatever. I'll definitely be everywhere, but wherever like I am at the time, I'll see how like life, wherever life takes me. Definitely gonna be a businesswoman. I'm gonna open things. I don't know what yet.
Okay.
But I know for a fact I'm gonna be doing a lot of like business work and service. Definitely going to continue. I have a goal I really want to help the women in the agricultural field back home.
Okay.
Before I left Zimbabwe, my dad and I were like just going on a road trip, driving. It was like the 3 days before I left, and I saw these women. Their truck had broken down. They had fresh produce in their truck. It had broken down. They're sleeping on the side of the road, waiting for a mechanic to come over. And my dad was like, "You see that, right? A car could just swerve off the road. They could get injured. They could get killed. These are women who've worked hard. Their produce is probably rotting in there. They're gonna go sell it for like a lesser price now. They've got kids to take to school. They've got food to buy. Like the system is not set up fair for them." So he told me, he's like, "Keisha, you have to do something about this." I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I've been doing my research. I found a course in school. They introduced a course. I saw an email the other day. It speaks about agriculture. It's something to do with agriculture and innovation. So I'm definitely going to be taking it. I want to like build on like more knowledge, see how can I help these people? How can I help people? And they're not the only people. This is not the only group that needs help. There's going to be like tons of more people that I need to go and help and see what I can do. How can I, help them? So definitely more service. I'm going to keep doing that, and school service, and maybe start a family, settle down. Maybe I'll see.
Well, I really hope that when you do decide to stop globetrotting, that you come and start that family here in Airdrie, because you are a
Wonderful
credit
place.
to everything that's good about this city. So
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Keisha, it was my honor meeting you last week. It's my honor having you on the podcast today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me
Thank you
today.
so much for having me. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
And remember
thank
the
you,
name.
thank you.
She's going to be a big shot one day.
Gonna be a big shot.
Thank you so much, Airdrie. We will be back with more episodes soon.